Ulster Bank, dedicated to the strength of Irish rugby.
Let's look ahead to the big one this week. England, the visitors to the Aviva on Sunday. Victor, it's obviously going to be a very, very different game for this Ireland team, and particularly for the youngsters. I mean, the Wales game was something they'd never experienced before, but coming up against an England team who are playing like that now. Absolutely.
I mean, the great thing is you've got a confident Irish camp, a camp that probably are enjoying their rugby at the moment. You know, there's nothing like winning together to keep everyone happy. If you look at the efforts made last weekend, Ireland made 176 tackles, England only made 90. So this week will be all about injury maintenance, probably, you know, keeping everyone somewhat mentally fresh, if possible, after last weekend. But also Mervyn Murphy will have a huge part to play in terms of video analysis, trying to figure out where there were holes in the Irish team last week and find out where there were holes in the English team.
And that's the key, is they need a good plan now this week. It's different from Wales. The same physicality applies. England bring a lot of physicality, size, power. But I think Ireland can cope with that. They'll have a lot of confidence.
Would it make a big difference now if you guys were playing like an 8-day turnaround and they flew home after the game on Saturday, which is the first time ever? That would all help.
That itself says the intent, because they know what's up next week. And Declan Kidney, in fairness to him, always plans ahead. You know, sometimes to his detriment, but always plans ahead. And you know, for this week,
what do you mean by that, Victor? but he's right. Yeah, they have that. You know, they need a good plan in place this week to manage them, don't they?
The extra day makes a huge difference as well for getting players right. But certainly from tactical point of view, watching the videos, getting confidence of where the attack could be and where you might have lacked a bit in defence last week, it's huge for the mental edge.
We keep hearing about England and the size of them, and they're clearly this huge, big team. Where do they compare skill-wise? How skillful are they, as well as physical?
They're getting there, I think. Yeah, they have a lot of talent, they have a lot of pace. Mike Brown, really kind of underrated player, isn't he, on the wing? Very, very good player for him. You know, Farrell stepped up, kicking well now, seems to have a lot of confidence. Ashton is always a threat, and they have ball carriers up front as well. Tom Youngs is usually impressive. You mentioned him earlier. So they have a lot of options to carry, a lot of skill, a lot of offloading.
They're comfortable on the ball, the forwards, aren't they?
Yeah,
they get offloading, they're comfortable.
In saying all that, if you're an Irish player and you can't get up for next Sunday, there's something wrong with you. The old enemy are coming to town. It's going to be unbelievably exciting. And Ireland have a win, so there's confidence kind of going through the squad. They can't get ahead of themselves, of course. England are a good side, but this is a real test for England.
England will come over here expecting to see what they saw in Cardiff last weekend. They'll expect to see, you know, with a back line running, offloading the ball. Do not disappoint, you know. Their strengths are their set pieces, their scrum, their line-out. They've obviously got Farrell there as a kicker. Any sort of indiscipline, it'll be straight away 3 points, drop goals, etc.
So by do not disappoint, are you saying that that's exactly what Ireland should do again?
Again, it's all about the tempo. If you come out against England, you're in the Aviva Stadium, you know, as Declan Kidney mentioned, the crowd there, the home crowd, frustrate them, you know, intimidate them. But if you let them get in, they're a big, strong pack, somewhat like 10 years ago when they, you know, Martin Johnson's team, big, strong pack and a goal kicker. They've more than that this time.
They're also a young side as well, though, aren't they? And although they've had a lot of confidence, they are from 2 home wins. So this is very much something new and something different for them. And we've seen, thankfully, in the last 4 visits from English teams to Dublin, that this has rattled their cage a little bit. So the start's huge.
And we're talking about Ireland having a plan, and you have to have a plan going into every game. But the simple basics are required. Physicality, intensity, getting a good start, as Victor was saying, and fronting up, being in their faces. You've got to give them a real test next Sunday, and I think Ireland will. They'll be physically up for it, and they'll be ready for it. What a great game from.
This is not a bad English side. This is a good English side. They're not going to bring any midfield like Shontaine Happe and Matt Bannon.
You know what I mean? Play, they try to box
and don't they like to hold onto the ball? It's quite difficult to get the ball from.
And there's a new dynamic there as well. It was very interesting reading Chris Ashton's comments arising out of the win over Scotland the weekend. He was talking about this is a completely different setup from last time we were in Dublin. Not only is there only 4 of that side, remarkably enough, but also he said this is a much more even squad. Everybody's on a level playing field. And the clear influence in that was that under Martin Johnson there was a little bit of a caste system, as it were, within the dressing room, within the team, and that came very much through in the World Cup as well. That doesn't seem to be there anymore. He's clearly got a good coach. He picks his teams well. You know, Brian Moore pointed this out, like the selection of Billy 12 trees. In times past, he would have probably gone flooded out half and gone with Barrett and the goal kicker. the goal kicker,
Farrell
at midfield. He didn't. He brought in 12 trees, played 12 trees right up in the gain line, and Stuart Barnes is now saying maybe he should go for 12 trees in midfield next week, even if Tuilagi comes back. And he's a brave enough coach to do that. He's a brave enough coach to do that.
They have a lot of options, and I think what we will find out next Sunday is we'll learn a lot about both teams, where they're at.
Yeah.
Ireland making the steps forward since November, England over the All Blacks winning against Scotland. We'll know a lot next Sunday about them, because it's going to be a real test match.
And we've spoken, Victor, today about what seems like a great morale within the Irish team, but the inference also from Chris Ashton's comment is that there seems to be a great morale in this England side as well.
There is, but they'll be cautious, you know. And the one thing from an Irish point of view, if it doesn't start the way it started last week, you know, the experience from the Irish team, the Jamie Heath, the Brian O'Driscolls, who have that experience, they have to make sure that Ireland keep on digging the way they did in defence last week, because it might not go their way so quickly with this team.